Gambling, like any other pursuit in life, is not inherently good or bad. You know, it is neutral. Huh? Its morality or destructiveness depends entirely on the intention, on the discipline, and on the self-awareness of the individual engaging in it. You know, the same activity that destroys one person can enrich another, depending on how consciously it is approached. You know, the real issue is not gambling itself, but the psychological relationship one has with risk, with money, and control. When gambling is approached with skill, it is approached with patience and emotional regulation, then it becomes a form of strategic engagement, a circulated art of probability and psychology. You know, professional gamblers, traders, and even investors often share the same mindset. They understand patterns, they manage risk, and they approach losses as data, not defeat. You know, they don't gamble for emotional highs. They gamble for mastery. However, most people enter gambling driven by desperation, driven by fantasy or even escape. They see it as a shortcut, a fast track to wealth without the process of building discipline or value. You know, this mindset immediately corrupts the purpose of the activity. Instead of developing strategic skills, they chase emotional highs and fall into a cycle of dopamine dependence, where the thrill of winning becomes more important than the wisdom of winning. You know. Now, addiction begins not in the act, but in the intention behind the act. Gambling, in that sense, mirrors life. Every action taken without awareness or motive leads to imbalance. The same applies across all professions. A trader who trades impulsively, a doctor who practices for status, or even a content creator chasing fame, all fall into addiction. And that is addiction to validation, addiction to control, or even fantasy. You know, the difference is that successful gamblers treat gambling as a craft, not as luck. They study systems, they manage emotions, they accept losses, and they even build consistency. Very important. All of which are traits of mastery. You know, what ruins others is not gambling, but the illusion that you can cheat the process. Psychologically, gambling exposes the human relationship with control and uncertainty. It magnifies how we can handle unpredictability. You know, whether we become reckless, whether we become anxious, or even composed. You know, those who gamble impulsively are often running from the discomfort of not knowing. They mistake adrenaline for progress. And now they start to chase outcomes instead of systems. You know. But those who approach it consciously develop emotional detachment and pattern recognition. And these are key elements in emotional intelligence. You know. Because they train their minds to stay calm amidst chaos. Something few careers can teach so directly. You know. The difference between gambling as a discipline and gambling as addiction lies in self-awareness. The addict seeks relief from pain, while the master seeks understanding through practice. You know, spiritually, gambling symbolizes humanity's dance with fate and free will. Every bet represents a conversation between destiny and decision. You know, how much of your life you trust to chance, and how much you take responsibility for. You know, a spiritually mature gambler doesn't see gambling as playing against luck, but as a mirror reflecting reflecting his or her inner state. That is patience, greed, fear, and most importantly, intuition. You know, when gambling becomes an escape from life, then it turns dark. That is a spiritual disconnection from purpose and truth. But when it becomes a mirror for discipline, when it becomes a mirror for patience and surrender, then it transforms into profound spiritual exercises. That is learning to trust timing, flow, and even detachment from results. You know, in this light, gambling done with awareness isn't about money. It is about understanding the self in the presence of risk. In short, gambling is not inherently destructive. Ignorance is. The difference between mastery and addiction lies in intention and awareness. You know, when gambling is treated as a serious craft, that is requiring discipline, requiring strategy and emotional maturity, then it can be as legitimate as any career within the monetary system. But when used as an escape, my friend, then it becomes a reflection of one's inner chaos. You know, in truth, gambling only amplifies what already exists within. That is discipline or desperation, mastery or avoidance, you know, creation or escape. It is not the cards that determine your fate. It is how you play them. My people, heal.